The Yankees rotation preview. This group is probably the most interesting in terms of there's a wide range of outcomes. There are former Cy Young winners. There are former World Series champions. There are top 100 prospects. There are Rookie of the Year winners. Maybe not the most encouraging outlook for him. But we'll get into all these guys from Garrett Cole to Paul Blackburn. We're getting into Paul Blackburn this episode. Yankees rotation preview here on Fireside Yankees. My name is Ryan Garcia, as always, your host, joined by Jacob, also known as And That's Baseball. Jacob was just in Miami. I'm currently in Tampa, so we have both experienced Florida at various points, somewhat overlapping. Jacob, how you doing? How you feeling, my man?
I'm feeling well, bro. I got the nice tan going. I was down at the WBC, the semifinals, Venezuela versus Italy game, and then the finals game. And if you follow me on Twitter, you were seeing, you're keeping up with that. I had some bangers on Twitter. I was making fun of Judge a little bit, which was unfortunate. It was an unfortunate look to have to defend Aaron Judge after that finals performance, but that's my job, so I had to do it. I made some chirps, but I also defended him. So that was a fun experience down there.
Yeah, and watching the WBC games, they're electric. Unfortunately, Team DR did not pull it out, but I can't get jeered that much by Team USA because they didn't pull it out either. So we both remain with one World Baseball Classic champion, but instead of three, now there are four teams, or federations, I guess is the legal term for this in the World Baseball Classic. Federations that have won the World Baseball Classic. Congratulations to Venezuela. Former Yankee alert in Gleyber Torres.
I was so happy for him.
Future Yankee alert in Luis Ariz.
All right,
Oh,
all
I'm messing
right,
with
all
you. I'm
right.
messing with you.
Hang on, Arias though. If Arias came to the Yankees and played like he does in the Classic, where he only homers, walks, and strikes out, I would take that. That would be pretty based of him.
I would too, but unfortunately, he's only a first baseman now, and we have a first baseman, which we preview. If you want to check out the infield preview, Jacob, let's get into this rotation, and we'll start with the currently healthy guys. Now, this is the Yankees on paper right now, March 19th, 2026, 5:55 p.m. EST. Don't kill us if this changes between now and then. Their starting five for 2026 opening day will include Max Fried, Cam Schlittler, Ryan Weathers, Will Warren, and Luis Heel. We'll start with Heel here because there's some talk that maybe he does get optioned to start the year, so maybe actually not with the opening day rotation. Jacob, he has had his ups and downs in spring training. He had a bumpy 2025 season. Are you worried about Luis Heel?
I'm certainly worried about him. I do think his stuff looks a little bit better than it did last season, but it's definitely not enough for me to be high on him because like it's I don't know. You watch him and it's just like it feels like he doesn't have it the way he did in 2014. The fastball's not quite as good, and even though like the stuff models are grading it like above average, it's just not getting any whiffs. His command still hasn't been great. I don't know. I'm not really feeling it at all. Like obviously, you don't want to look at results when it comes to spring training. It's such a small sample size and stuff can happen, but like he's pretty much he needs the fastball to be good enough because he's a three pitch guy, and the fastball right now doesn't
Yeah,
look good enough.
I'd have to agree. He's a three pitch pitcher. He doesn't have good command, and I don't think his stuff is particularly overwhelming. I don't like his slider very much. I think the four seam fastball has shown like signs of being good on a stuff basis, but he's filling up the zone a lot, which is cool, but he also doesn't command the ball well, so he's missing in zone a lot. I'm not sure what the fix is here. I think I think there's a chance this is just a bad spring training, and that he shows up and he looks good in the regular season, and we kind of look at this and laugh. But the track record is that the command isn't good. The general kind of what works, what doesn't work in Major League Baseball is that three pitch pitchers are typically not very good unless these three pitch pitchers have outlier pitches, a la Christopher Sanchez and his disgusting sinker, his great changeup, and he's got a slider in there as well. That's pretty solid, all things considered. Luis Gil doesn't have that. His fastball isn't as good as Sanchez's sinker. His fastball is also not a damage-preventing fastball, so he does leave himself a little bit prone to home runs and barrels in general. I don't trust him. I don't trust him very much. I think it could work in the bullpen maybe, but at this point in time, I am at the point with Luis Gil where he's got to prove to me that he's a good starter and that he can
Yeah.
do this and that I shouldn't push him out of the rotation the first chance I get with either Legrand or Rodon or Cole. We'll get to some of these guys later in the video. But you have any final thoughts on Luis Gil?
I mean, if I had to put money on it, I think he's gonna be the opening day number 5 But like you just said, if he go like the second someone else gets healthy, or the second one of the minor league guys shows that he's ready to go, like he's probably gonna be out of there. And I don't know if that's sending him to AAA, moving him to the bullpen, sending him to the AAA, and then moving him to the AAA bullpen. I don't know what the solution is, but hopefully we can salvage something. Maybe he does move to the pen. Maybe he just finds it and gets healthy and built up. But if not, maybe we can move him to the pen. He'll pick up a few miles per hour on the fastball, and he'll be kind of more usable in a in a more compressed situation. But as of right now, I'm not really high on him. I do have to see it to believe it again with him.
Yeah, and look, there's a chance maybe during the year he finds another pitch. I remember Carlos Rodon went through this where in 24 he still couldn't get whiffs on the fastball, and then he started throwing his changeup more, and he added a sinker in 2025, and he changed and evolved. But I think that I think Rodon had better command, is just more refined mechanically. Like Heel doesn't have a lot of like the soft skills I would look for in a pitcher
Yeah,
when it comes to projecting future pitches on him. Even though I do
yeah.
think he's capable of throwing like a sinker or a cutter, I'm a little bit stunned he hasn't tried it. Maybe it just
Well,
doesn't work for him.
that's my thing. Like Rodon, at least he'd been messing with the changeup a little bit. He'd been messing with the sinker a little bit, and then as he got more comfortable, the usage went up. And it obviously we got kind of lucky. It coincided with his fastball stuff regressing in a good way. But now that Heel's fastball's regressed, he hasn't like we haven't seen anything from him that shows that he can add to this repertoire. So that really concerns me about his long term future and his spot on this team in the short term.
Yeah, it's more so for me that I didn't like his profile after last year and nothing changed. It's not
Yes.
like, oh, I liked him last year and nothing changed and he's having a bad spring, so I don't like him now. I did not like what I saw last year. I don't see that he's very different from last year, so I don't know if I can believe in him to be different from last year. I
Yeah.
think that kind of works as a good launching point to Ryan Weathers, who's also had a bumpy spring training if you look at ERA and results, but
Hmm.
I actually think has been much better than that ERA would suggest. I tweeted this out earlier on my Twitter account at Ryan Garcia ESM. It's tagged with an article in it, so if you want to read the article, go right ahead. But I'll kind of give you the meat and potatoes of this. His batting average on negative launch angle batted ball events is 611. His batting average on balls in play is 525. His home run to fly ball ratio is 33.3%, and he has a 60% ground ball rate. He is not allowed a lot of fly balls, but when he does, they've left the yard. None of these things are sustainable. I think he's actually made material changes to his pitch mix with a better sinker and a better gyro slider. But Jacob, do you also kind of feel like he's unlucky, or do you feel like, hey, actually, I'm not feeling Ryan Weathers right now?
Yeah, I'm not putting any stock into the spring training results. I think what you have to look at in that small of a sample is the stuff plus grades, and like with him, he's always had the good stuff plus grades. So and the results have never been there. So I understand the argument of like, oh, this guy's just the pitches hypothetically should be good, but they don't get good results. But compared to what he was last year, the stuff looks better, and he has a deeper repertoire. The I don't think the him allowing like today we just saw him allow what 7 runs against Toronto. I don't really care about that, right? Like that I don't think that is indicative of the guy he's going to be this year. He's been very unlucky, and while he's struggled command wise, I don't think that necessarily means he can't improve his command throughout the season. It's only been what 4 games in the spring. I'm not putting much into the ERA in the spring training.
If Ryan Weathers had like previously obvious command issues, I would put stock into this. I would say, okay, he has good stuff. He doesn't know where the ball's going, and that's a consistent team in his career. And nothing has changed for me to think that's going to change just yet. That's not the case with Ryan Weathers. If you look at Ryan Weathers, his walk rate last year, small sample size, but still last year 7.2%. The year before that 6.5%. That's in if you combine all these 2 years together, it's 125 innings of a 6.8% walk rate and a 101 location plus. Is it possible that he just has like league average command? Yes, I think that's actually probably I wouldn't say it's good command per se. I think it's pretty average, and I think he has
Yeah,
better stuff than he's had.
I think he seems to me like a guy with good control but not great command in zone. Like he doesn't walk very many
Yes.
guys, but when he gets into trouble, he will get hit hard because he will miss over the middle more than he should.
Yeah, and I think for Weathers as well, it's not like I have to see him over the last 2 years, he has a 3.74 ERA and a 4 flat skill interactive ERA. That's pretty much like an average to slightly above average starting pitcher over 24 starts. I think a lot of people are being pretty disingenuous about this, where it's like they're talking about a guy who sucks and has to prove that he does not suck.
Yeah,
This is a guy who's a league average starter who has to prove he's better than that. Now, in the context of this rotation, and we'll get into this as we get into the episode, being a league average starter may not be enough to keep you in this rotation for honestly more than a couple of months, right? But
yeah,
if Ryan Weathers' improvements to his sinker, where it's got more depth, it's got more run, the bullet slider has more depth, a little more sweep, and it's got more velocity. If those two changes are real, if he's going to be a 50% ground ball rate guy, he's been an incredible ground ball, or has an incredibly high ground ball rate. If he's going to be a ground ball pitcher and basically maintain the strikeout to walk rates we've seen the last 2 years, this
mhm,
is a number three starter, like a pretty good number three starter. And I also think that's where like expectations need to be. Like I think maybe there was like this narrative that this guy's gonna be like a number one or like a number two.
yeah.
And like, look,
And I
if
mean,
you want to be the yeah, go ahead.
his first spring start, everyone was like, "Oh, this guy's Scooble 2.0." Like Matt Blake saved him. I don't know. I was hyping him up a little bit too, but yeah, I don't think we should in spring. I feel like as a fan base, we got too high on him in the first start, and we've gotten too low on him in the subsequent starts. So I definitely think
Yeah.
he will be somewhere in my hot take on him. He will be somewhere between Tarek Skubal and really bad this year.
I would have to concur with that hot take. I think it'll also be somewhere in between the best pitcher in baseball and the worst pitcher in baseball.
Yeah,
But I also want to
somewhere
list this off for
between
stuff
Luis
plus
Gil.
scores.
What's up?
I want to list off his stuff plus scores real quick from
Oh yeah.
Camp. So this is from Stars of the Athletic. His model,
Mm.
his slider 162, sweeper 124, sinker 111, changeup 106, four seamer 103. So
Did you say 162 on the slider?
yeah, and it's eight pitches, so like it hasn't even had enough time. Like that pitch hasn't had enough time to stabilize, but it's a double plus pitch just based on the shape and
Yeah,
velocity. It is really good.
of
Um,
course.
And like that's why the Yankees are in on this guy. This guy has five plus pitches, or at least average to above average pitches. If we want to, I'll be strict. I don't think the fastball is four seamers a plus pitch. I actually think it's like an average at best pitch. I don't really love his four seam fastball, and I think it's always going to be like a low whiff fastball. But I kind of look at like Carlos Rodon, and I look at Ryan Weathers, and if you look at Carlos Rodon's four seamer, it no longer really picks up that much swing and miss. I think Ryan Weathers is kind of like Carlos Rodon. Like I think there's a lot of similarities. I'm not saying he's going to
Yeah.
have the same ERA that Rodon did last year, but very much like, hey, the four seamer really isn't as good as you would think, considering what it looks like,
Mhm.
and he should probably throw his changeup more, and he should probably throw his sinker more, and he should probably not throw the four seamer a lot, but he'll still
Yeah,
find a way to be a pretty productive pitcher because the stuff is good, and I think he's a deeper mix, and I think he's figured this out at a younger age. So
yeah.
I
I
like
like
Ryan
the
Weathers. I think he's
I
good.
like I like the comp because it's like you've had Blake has worked with Rodon, and Rodon was really good last year. I feel like we haven't really given him enough credit for that as a
Yeah, he was really
fan
good.
base. He was excellent last year, and then he was hurt in the playoffs when he pitched the playoffs. But anyway, like his stuff was not even close to where it was in 2022 when he was one of the best pitchers in baseball. But he was still a really really good pitcher last year because he became a better pitcher because he expanded his repertoire. He got better at sequencing, and that all came in like the last year and a half from second half of 2024 into 2025. And Weathers just kind of has to follow that blueprint now, and he might even have better ceiling because the velo is still there with him because he's younger. So I'm definitely interested to see what Matt Blake can do with him throughout this season, and I expect him to improve as the season goes on, even if he doesn't start quite as good as fans were expecting after that first spring training start.
If you're fading Ryan Weathers because of his spring training ERA, you have to think Michael King will suck this year. He has a 9.95. You have to think Luis Castillo will suck, 10.80. You have to think Andrew Abbott will suck, 13.85. If you want to look at recent examples of guys with similar volume, with also really bad ERAs, you have to think Sonny Gray was going to be awful in 2025. I think Sonny Gray just dealt with poor luck and wasn't actually bad that year. You'd have to think that 2024 Logan Webb, who had the worst ERA amongst any pitcher who pitched at least 10 innings in spring training at 10.97, You thought he was going to suck. You had to think that. You also must have thought that Nestor Cortez was going to be awful in 2024 because he had a 7.71 ERA. Oh, wait, people did think that, and he actually wasn't awful, and I got to take that victory lap. We do this every time where we have to pretend that ERA matters a lot in small samples, and then it actually doesn't, and I get shit for it, and then I have to go back and collect my little, hey guys, remember this? Like, hey, Luis Seal, do you guys remember when I was being screamed at for Luis Seal not being good, and me saying it time and time again that Cam Schlittler is clearly better than him, and now everyone wants Luis Seal off their team, and everyone wants to crown Cam Schlittler the next Cy Young winner. Sorry that you guys you guys, not you guys at the audience, like, the people I'm specifically referring to. The ERA is the only thing that matters in 10 inning sample size, people. You have never won anything. I have won everything because I don't think that. No, all seriousness though, like, ERA doesn't matter in these sample sizes. They really
I
don't.
mean,
10 innings, it doesn't matter.
if you're looking at the spring training ERA leaderboards, then you must think Will Warren is about to win a Cy Young this year because he's got like a 177 right now.
Well, I mean, Kyle Hart's going to win the Cy Young this year, so let's chill on that. Hart has not allowed a single run, so let's stop it there. Like,
Yeah,
don't
KBO.
disrespect my boy. Yeah, Jake Irvin is better than Max Fried. So, yeah, that
Checks
makes
out.
sense. Yeah, that works. Honestly, that does. No, but I mean, again, in all seriousness, like I think most people listening to this are like adept to the idea that ERA or just things in spring don't really matter. But I'm more so telling you guys this, the audience, so that you know that when your buddy tells you Ryan Weathers sucks because ERA in spring is bad, you can go, "The hell are you talking about, man?
Yeah,
Like, come
I've
on."
s- I've seen too many of those like, oh, classic Cashman brought in another bust, and it's like, man, it is March 19th. Calm down.
Paul Goldschmidt has a 1,000 slugging percentage.
Well, I mean, if he only hits against lefties, that might be sticky.
Pretty sure Paul Goldschmidt's only like done this against righties though this spring. Like he's killed righties this spring.
Yeah, that's true. He should have started against Erod in the final. That's
Yeah,
the
honestly.
perfect matchup for Goldie.
And you know what? Clearly he's better than Ben Rice. They should sit Ben Rice. Ben Rice should lose. Actually, let's use Ben Rice for this. Do you remember when Dom Smith was supposed to play over Ben Rice because Ben
Yes,
Rice didn't had like a
yes.
100 batting average? Guys, please, I'm going to stress this again. ERA in like 30 inning samples. This isn't even a 30. This is 12 innings. In 30 inning samples does not matter. It will never matter. Please, 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 please. We're in the big 2026. Let's get hit, fellas. Strikeout rate. Honestly, I'm going to be honest. Like spring training, the only thing that matters is health and like, are you
Yeah.
throwing abnormally slower or harder than you did last year? Because either direction's kind of panic mode, right? Like if I'm trying to think of like for like a slower example on the Yankees. I don't know if there's a guy who's like throwing way slower than he should.
Carlos Estevez on the Royals is down like 5 ticks this
Yeah,
spring. That's when you're like, okay, that's an issue. And even then, early in the spring, it's not that big a deal. But then once you get like 3 or 4 games in, it's like, oh, the velo still hasn't improved. It's like that's when you get concerned. But with Weathers is sitting, I think, like a half tick above where he was last year. Like I'm not concerned about him at
I don't
all.
even think he's going to sustain that. I think he's like I. The funniest thing is like after the first start, I was like, yeah, he's not going to sit this hard again, and now I have
Yeah.
to come all the way around on. Hey guys, he's not as bad as he's been in spring. Like it's so weird. It's kind of like with Aaron Judge and the clutch stuff, where I was kind of like the guy getting shit for being like the most negative on Judge during the postseason, and then now the guy getting shit for being the most positive on Judge in clutch moments. It's such a weird thing, but that's not here nor there. We've gotten off the beaten path a little bit, so we'll
Yes, we
steer
have.
ourselves back on course here. I'm going to give you all five of these starting pitchers. I'm going to give you their projected WAR on Fangraphs, and I'm going to ask you which pitcher do you believe will overperform this mark with the highest confidence interval? So not by the largest, I guess largest amount. I guess it does play into this, but really I'm trying to figure out who you think is clearly better than what their projections indicate. Max Fried, 3.9 WAR. Cam Schlittler, 1.7 WAR. Will Warren, 1.4 WAR. Ryan Weathers, 1.2 WAR. Luis Seal, 0.6 WAR. WAR is the key thing here, not ERA, so you have to bake in volume a little bit here. Jacob, who is your biggest over?
Oh, it's Cam Schlittler, dude. He looks so good right now. He looked so good last year too. I'm not just saying this based on the little sample size this spring. He looked incredible. He got better and better as the year went last year, and he looks even better now than he did at the end of last year. So I'm definitely super high on him. What'd you say? 1.7 was his projection?
Yeah, I
Oh
think
yeah,
it's ridiculous.
I could see if he's healthy, I could see Cam Schlittler being a 4 or 5 win pitcher like fairly easily. I think he is truly that close to being complete as an ace-ish level guy.
If you want these stuff plus scores on him, slider 128, four seam 114, cutter 112, sinker 112, curveball 109.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah,
Oh my
he's going to be
god,
really
dude.
good this year.
He's
Um,
sick.
I'm I'm under the impression that he's going to be at least a game two starter if he's healthy. If he's healthy, he's a big part of this. You can always get hurt and kind of
Of
give back some
course.
velocity, some movement, things of that nature. I think if he's healthy, undisturbed, uninterrupted, he should be one of this team's three or four best starters, depending on kind of like how the veterans come back, because we'll get into them right now. But like Rodon and Cole, I don't know if you guys know this, but they're coming back this year. Rodon
Yeah.
obviously was awesome for the Yankees last year. Cole is, I think, the biggest kind of like draw in this part because we haven't seen him in a major league regular season or postseason game since 2024. We have seen him in a spring training game as recent as, well, for me, yesterday. Garrett Cole topped that at 98.7. It was his first appearance since spring training of 2025. Obviously, towards UCL, missed all of 2025. Jacob, are you optimistic or pessimistic on Garrett Cole? And does this recent outing change your outlook for him in 2026?
I mean, I know it shouldn't change my outlook on him. It was one inning. It was one inning. It was his first inning back. But I did some digging on Garrett Cole. And since he won Cy Young in 2023, he pitched like half a season in 2024 and that postseason. Then he pitched in spring training in 2025. Outside of the postseason, where he was all amped up on adrenaline, Garrett Cole only threw 3 pitches in 2024, above that 98.7 mile per hour high watermark that he reached yesterday. That means something, I think. I think it does, because he wasn't even close to that in 2025 spring. I think his arm is as healthy as it's been since his Cy Young season. And even in his Cy Young season, his velo was a little bit down. I don't know. Listen, it's one inning. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. But all the reports in camp say he's been sitting 96, 97 on the gun in his side sessions. And then he comes into the game like almost touching 99, which I did not expect that from him a few months ago, considering how he was trending before the injury and considering that he's the age that he is.
I'm going to be frank. I went into this season kind of like, okay, I want to be the lower man on Garrett Cole. I don't want to be the guy who thinks he's going to come back and want to be Cy Young Cole because that's unreasonable. That's irrational, and that's how you set yourself up to not only make a fool of yourself, but also hype up fans. And like, I think I carry a responsibility to not be crazy about a player because I think my words have weight and that I can negatively impact somebody's viewing experience by setting them up to think somebody's good when or better than they're actually going to be. I was blown away with his velocity. I've been blown away with everything I've seen reports wise. Sitting 96, put him up with a StatCast, he was sitting 97. Granted, one inning of work. I don't think he's going to sit 97 in a full start. I think it'll be 96 potentially, but that is where he sat when he won a Cy Young in 2023. That's where he sat when he was really, really good in 2024, especially after getting knocked around a little bit to come back. I think the 14-month window and him being strict to that is only going to make him come back stronger when he comes back. Like, he's not going to be rusty, looking kind of like shit when he comes back the way he did in 24.
Mm.
Um, I, I, I mean, how it's so impressive seeing what this guy is. I just can't sit here and continue to doubt Garrett Cole. What do I have to sit here and tell you guys? I'm concerned about the velocity. I can't be concerned about the velocity based on what I know, based on what we've seen, right? Like, I have no reason to be concerned right now. Should I be concerned about injury risk? Yes. He's older. He's coming off Tommy John surgery. He hasn't pitched a lot of innings since 2024 when he was 2 years younger, yada, yada, yada. But, like, that exists for all pitchers. And that would exist for Garrett Cole regardless of whether he had Tommy John surgery or not. In fact, I'd argue that I would have a greater UCL tear risk for him if he didn't get Tommy John in 25. So, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to say about Garrett Cole other than he looked absolutely disgusting. His stuff looks crisp. His mechanics look great. He continues to prove that nobody knows their body more than Garrett Cole in the baseball world. He is a savant for pitching. If there are things he needs to work on, he's going to identify them and work tirelessly at them. I felt like when I was at Georgia and Steinbrenner Field watching him warm up and pitch, like Jacob, I feel like I was like, it almost felt like being a participant at like a church and like witnessing like the witnessing like the priest blessing the body of Christ. Like that's what it felt like. I'm gonna be honest with you, like it sounds like crazy glaze, but like I feel like I was watching an artist at work, and you would see like Cam Schlittler, he walked out there. He was not his throw day. Just walked out there, just watch Cole. LeGron Hay had to warm up, but he didn't warm. He was not there to warm up just yet. He was there to just watch Cole. The staff, the guys just stopped doing whatever they were doing to watch Garrett Cole. It's really a special thing to watch, and yeah, I'm not going to temper my expectations for him. I'm not saying he's going to win a Cy Young or anything or be that good, but he's going to be awesome for this team when he's back, assuming he's healthy.
Dude, I'm so excited. It's like going into this year, I was kind of low on him. I was like, listen, guys, we can't be expecting him to get back and be the ace. He's probably going to be more of a 3 or 4, like at best. If we get 80% of 2023 Garrett Cole, this rotation could be lethal. This could be the best rotation in baseball if Garrett Cole is back close to that 2023 form. And obviously I'm a homer, right? But you give me Max Fried, 2023 Garrett Cole, an improved year 2 Cam Schlittler, Carlos Rodon healthy. Come on, man. Like what else who else matches up with that?
I'll tell you this right now. I could not think of a better profile for what the Yankees need in the rotation right now, too. A power right-handed pitcher is kind of what this rotation's lacking right now. So, like, they need that. He's the profile of what they need. And the thing that kind of gets me most giddy about this, Jacob, is we talked about Schlittler a little bit. We didn't really focus too much on like the slider, but who'd he learn to split his cutter into a slider and cutter from? Garrett Cole.
Garrett
That
Cole
these
might as
two are
well
going to
be a pitching
share.
coach.
Yeah, these two are going to be on road trips together. When Cam Schlittler has a rough start, he's going to have Garrett Cole in the dugout to talk to him about things. When Garrett Cole has a rough start, like he's going to be able to assess his own things, but he's also going to have like a younger version of himself to kind of look at. Like I think
Dude.
this is the coolest thing ever. We have two guys who are essentially the same profiles. One of them is already one of the most accomplished pitchers of the
We
generation. The other guy's just getting started.
we have to calm down. It's been 1 inning. We have to calm down. But like, just the
No,
idea
no,
of
we
it,
don't.
the idea like a couple of months ago, we were like, the rotation's in danger. This is like the scariest, and it still is. Like the depth, especially early in the season, is really precarious at this point, especially with Heel not looking good. But just like get us to Cole's like target return date is June 1st, I believe. Get me to June 1st. That's all we need. And then if Cole is back 75-80% of what he used to be, this rotation's really good, man.
Well, what I'll also say is I gotta be careful. What I was gonna say was that, like, I think we expected to lose two people by now.
Yeah. Hey, don't.
I expected to have. No, it could still happen. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I still expect to lose somebody between now and opening day. Like, I am still. If I was a betting man, I would because the odds also would be like pretty good, like pretty favorable for someone to take on this. I would still bet on Ryan Yarbrough making a start in the first month of April, if not
Did you
multiple.
see? Did you see a Cuddy's article about this?
Dude, that or he's. I love Brendan Cuddy. He was a great guest.
People
I
are
do not
killing
want
him.
him to tweet that again. I don't tweet it again, please, man. But like in all seriousness, I think I expected two guys to be down by now.
No, yeah. It's
I still expect
definitely.
Ryan Yarbrough to make multiple starts. I honestly, I would take the over on 0.5 on half a start for Paul Blackburn in April.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised. I will say though,
Actually,
we do have some off days in April.
yeah, but you know what? I don't. We're gonna get to prospects later, but I'm gonna tell you why I'm actually gonna change. I'm gonna
Oh,
take that statement off the table. We'll get into that in a second. But
okay.
let's talk about Carlos Rodon real quick here because we're being so mean to him. I mean, he's also coming back. He was actually good last year. Like he actually was alive last year and pitched.
Yeah,
And
no, I'm
without
listing him
Carlos
as the.
Rodon,
I'm listing him as the 4 right now because I'm so giddy about the single inning that Garrett Cole threw.
can I say something real quick because I think this ties to the Ryan Weathers thing because I gotta give so much credit to Carlos Rodon, like the way he bounced back from 2023 and all that stuff. But people, do you remember when everyone was like on your ass? We thought Carlos Rodon was actually pitching better than what the numbers suggested when he had 5.48 ERA through his first 4 starts. The friends listening to this, the ERA crowd has never beaten you at anything. They've never won. They've never won. Their winning percentage 0. They've never won anything. The ERA crowd is no, actually they have one win, Cal Hendricks, and you know what? I like Cal Hendricks, so they get that. Even then, he's sucked in the latter half of his career, but that was because he was old. The ERA crowd has won nothing, and Carlos Rodon, another example of this. Carlos Rodon had a great year last year. I said his ERA from the start. 3.09 ERA, 203 strikeouts, 195 in the third innings pitched. I think, Jacob, you and I would sign up for literally anybody in the rotation doing this right now. I would sign up for Max Fried doing this.
Yeah,
Like, that's how
absolutely.
good his year was last year. And I don't think we talk about the fact that he was that good enough. He is a completely different pitcher to the one we signed in 2022. Jacob, thoughts, expectations, hopes for Mr. Rodon in 26?
I mean, I don't think he's going to be quite as good as he was last year. Like, he was from after those first four starts. Even in the first four starts, he was good, but got unlucky with his ERA. Like, you could tell his stuff was there. But after those first four starts, he was lights out almost the rest of the year until the end when he was pitching through that arm injury. So, like, presuming health, he's going to be really good again. I'd probably say like a 330 type of ERA guy, 330 to 350 range. It's like I'll take that for sure in our division in our ballpark. But just like I love that he after that brutal 2023 season when everyone was out on him, he had those health issues. He came in overweight. There was so much that it was like, wow, we just burned 150 million dollars on this guy. That was like I think that was a thought that was in everyone's head at the time. And the fact that he's bounced back to this degree, it kind of reminds me of CC Sabathia, his like late career resurgence. Except Rodon was able to Rodon learned to pitch while he still had a little bit of his stuff, whereas CC kind of learned to pitch after the stuff was really gone. So Rodon found it a little bit earlier, which is nice, but that late career resurgence from CC reminds me of this last year from Rodon.
Yeah, totally fair. And I will say, I just lamented the ERA crowd. I must give in a little bit here and also mention that I think that Rodon's ERA is not going to be as good as it was last year. I think we're looking at more of like a 3.8, 3.7 guy. And it depends. I mean, it depends because I also have to bake in that I think his stuff will be a little bit better because I think, the fact that
Yeah, end of the
maybe having a
year,
functioning elbow would help, right?
end of the year he wasn't as good.
Yeah, the results were not. There was ERA crowd, ERA crowd. Let me give you. Gosh, I'm just gonna be lamenting this all. I'm gonna just be hammering this point all episode. Final nine starts of the 2025 season. Carlos Rodon had a 2.43 ERA. He had an xFIP of over 4, a Sierra of over 4. He stunk in the postseason. Turns out his elbow was actually not functioning. Shocker that the guy whose stuff was debilitating and couldn't miss bats anymore and couldn't lift his elbow over his head couldn't pitch well in the postseason. I don't think that's because we have the big old is he just mentally weak? No, I just think his elbow was shot. So look, I think Carlos Rodon's going to be an ace? No, I don't think of him as an ace either, but I think of him as like a really cool number 3 starter and would be a number 2 on a lot of teams when healthy. Of course, I want to see what the stuff looks like. We actually don't know how he's responding post surgery. We have reports, but I want to see it. Like this is like with Garrett Cole. Like the reports are cool. I want to see it, right? And I saw it with Cole. Okay, cool. I want to see it with Rodon. It looks good if he's sitting 90. If he's just doesn't give back any velocity, I think he'll be a 3.7, 3.8 guy. If he gains anything, if he's sitting 95 again, then maybe he's better than that. Maybe he's
Yeah,
like what he was in the first half, which was like a 20% strikeout to walk rate guy.
I'm
So
looking
kind of
at
want to get
it.
your thoughts on him before we wrap that up.
Yeah, from August 1st on last season, Rodon did. He only had a couple of starts where he averaged over 94 on the fastball. He was down a tick from August 1st on from where he was through July 31st, and I don't know if it made that much of a difference, but it seemingly did with the peripheral stats from that point on in the season. So, and yeah, I think in the postseason too, he was down to like 92. Like he really didn't have his stuff against Toronto. So I am higher on him coming back healthy this year than I was like at the end of last season when I was like, oh, this guy is teetering. I definitely think knowing what the health issue was and knowing that it wasn't like a serious ligament tear or something like that brings some relief. And it's also relieving that this guy can come back and be like our third or fourth best starter if Cole and Cam are both healthy and doing their thing. So I definitely think we're not gonna have to rely on him the way we did last year, and that's good because his results probably won't be quite as good. But I still expect him to be a really solid arm.
Yeah, I'm just got to get the surgery in the off season, right? Like, no disrespect, actually, a lot of disrespect to the Reds. I'm pretty upset at them about this. Could have always pulled a Hunter Green where your pitcher tells you his elbow's hurting, and you guys go, just figure it out. You're good.
Yeah, that
Go
happened to
rest
a
it
bunch
up,
of guys
champ.
this year. I did that video
Yeah.
on the Braves had two of the same exact surgery that Rodon had. They had two of them like within the first week of camp, and Rodon got that as soon as the season ended, which is perfect for us. Perfect for the season here.
Well, we have the most incompetent medical staff in the league, I've been told. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
as long as it's not a
that's
concussion, we're good.
Yes, as long as you're not concussed or a shortstop who just tore his labrum, you're fine.
It's like in a if you ever played out of the park baseball, like the that trainer you can hire can has different categories. It's like our training staff it's red poor for concussions, and it's like excellent for most of the other ones.
Yeah, yeah. We're bad at can't evaluate concussions. If you're a shortstop, good luck. Good luck. We actually it's funny because um I think Didi like tore his UCL. Not that like they forced him to play through it, but he played through it and then he tore it in that offseason. He tore it and then had to repair it that offseason,
Well,
right? Was
he
that
played
the
through it. I think he played through it for the playoffs, right? Like he wanted to
Yeah,
just.
yeah.
I think him and then Hicks did the same thing the next year. We did. We've had a
I,
surprising number of UCL tears from position players. Like we had Glaber,
Glaber,
Didi,
Hicks, Didi,
Hicks, and Jason all had torn UCLs as position players. Which I don't know if any
and
teams had that
Everson
many.
Pereira torn his UCL
Oh,
too, if
really?
you remember. What a dude, we gotta stop tearing UCL. We gotta
I don't
stop
know
having
what
guys
we're. I
tear
don't
the
know what we're
UCLs.
doing, bro.
Judge almost joined that list, and I'm going to tell you right now, if Judge tore his UCL, I would have just been. Remember, Jazz almost tore his UCL. Like there was a scare that he tore his. He had a UCL injury. It just wasn't a
Mm,
tear. It's weird.
yeah.
Um,
And I will.
well, we're going
Oh,
to stop mentioning the UCL,
quick
given the
mention of
episode.
Judge. Judge's throw on Sunday to throw out Tatis, which I know you were devastated by, because that took the sails out of the Dominicans. That took the wind out of the Dominican sails, I should say. But that throw, I'm pretty sure was his hardest throw in like 3 years or something like that. So his arm looks healthy right now.
Yeah, dude, that game bothers me. That game bothers me forever and ever. Anywho, let's talk about some prospects, right? Let's talk about prospects. Carlos Legrande, Elmer Rodriguez, Ben Hess are the three guys we're going to be focusing on the most. Not a disrespect or a knock on the other guys, but these are the guys who are the most close to the big leagues or who have the closest proximity to the big leagues. And there are just so many arms in the system and kind of in the organization that I figure we focus on the guys who have a shot at like breaking in the big leagues this year. We'll start with Carlos Legrande. Just got optioned today because the Yankees are incompetent. No, I'm joking. He got optioned today because the Yankees want to keep him built up as a starting pitcher. Jacob, he completed his spring training. We just warned everybody to not care too much about spring training. What's real? What's not real about Carlos Legrande's spring training, and how excited are you by him?
I think the stuff is real, but the ERA is fake. And I mean, I could say that about everyone. I think that's the case in this type of sample size. I do think that the stuff is intriguing. He's definitely an outlier in terms of velocity as a starter. There's literally nobody else like even close to him. And in terms of stuff plus, I'm pretty sure like Thomas Nestico's model, it was like him and Mason Miller were like tied for top two stuff. And it's like that's a starting pitcher and the best reliever in baseball tied for that number one spot. I like it, of course it's exciting, and of course it's like you see the results, a sub one ERA, and it's like, oh, maybe this guy should be on the roster. But I do think we have to pump the brakes a little bit, the smallest bit, because he hasn't quite gotten the whiff numbers you'd want from him. He hasn't quite gotten the strikeout numbers you'd want from him. And I do think I don't know what the solution is, but putting him in AAA, building him up to a full 80 to 100 pitch range, and letting him get some more reps with the MLB ball, which they use in AAA as opposed to the minor league ball in AA. I do think we have to like give him a little bit of time before calling him up. But I will say, the second he strings together a few really good starts in AAA, I wouldn't be surprised if he is on this team sooner than later, based on how good he looked this spring.
Yeah, I think a couple of things first and foremost. I agree in the sense that I want him to stay in the minor leagues for a month, just because I want to see him build up as a starting pitcher. Not just only a month, like no more, no less, but like at the very least is kind of what I'm trying
Yeah.
to get at here. Like at the very least, give him a month down there. It gives you time to evaluate your current guys. It gives you time to evaluate Legrand. It gives you time to see if spring training goes an adrenaline boost or if there's not an adrenaline boost. How does he pitch in cold weather, in Scranton, and in the International League? How does his body handle that? Like there are data points I still want that aren't exactly like prospect related in terms of just small details, right? I mean, look, when you call a guy up, the you can't undo that. You can't undo that he was promoted. You can say, oh, you can send him back down. Yeah, but you can't undo it. Like I'll give you an example. Jonah Tong. You can't undo what just happened with Jonah Tong. He was a top 20 prospect in the game universally, top 15, 20. Gets called up, gets smacked around. All right. Who cares, right? He's still top 20, top 30. But you see him slide down just a little bit on rankings, right? Like
Yeah.
Peyton totally jumps him. Got on some rankings, even guys like I think it was Robbie Snelling jumped him as well on like Pipeline. Point is, very small slides in your status. Then you get to spring training, and you suddenly still can't throw a curveball or slider, and now you're optioned early. And man, are you even the top 50 prospect in the game anymore? Like these things happen very quickly. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be very careful with when that call up date is. With that being said, I think Legrand has the goods. I just want to see certain things. He misses a ton of bats. I mean, I know the strikeout numbers weren't great, but like the individual whiff rates are pretty good. 33% on the fastball, 40% on the sweeper, 56.3% on the slider,
Mm-hmm.
36% on the changeup. I think what happened in two strike counts was his command isn't great, so like he's missing where you should get your swing and miss, and in two strike counts you have more aggressive guys who are swinging, so you're not going to get like a cold strike three down the middle, right? Like that's
Mm-hmm.
just going to be a swing and a put in play. Um, it's very little things he has to work on. Two strike execution, more consistent command. It's not awful
Yeah.
right now, but it's
I
too
think
early to say it's good.
it's looked better than I expected. He hasn't really walked that many this spring, which is nice, and he's been in the zone a good amount. But yeah, it's definitely not, it's nowhere close to pinpoint. Like if he's like a 40 grade command guy with his stuff, that'll still play in the majors.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to be. I think he's going to get a chance to build up as a starter because, and I'll say this here, and I'll say this wherever I speak about Carlos Agrange. Hey, I know it'd be really cool if we threw him in the bullpen, but he might actually just be a good starting pitcher. I will confidently say that if you were to give me a pool of pitching prospects, I know the four guys precisely that I would take over Carlos Agrange right now:
Okay.
Nolan McLean,
Yeah.
Trey Savage, Bubba
Okay.
Chandler, Peyton Tolley. Clam Schlittler is not a prospect, to clarify for you guys. So it's not that I didn't consider him this. If he was a prospect, he would be fifth. Or he would be, not fifth exactly, but like he'd be on this list as well. Outside of that, you can pick and choose. You can tell me, I like Travis Sikora. I really like, I don't know, Kate Anderson. I like Liam Doyle. All right, cool, great. I'll take Legrand over him because I think he's got a deeper mix. He's healthy, which like Sikora isn't right now. He's like the guy I would think of. Susanna's in this for me too. Susanna's cool. I like Legrand secondaries more. I think Carlos Legrand is one of the 30 or 20 best prospects in the sport. I
Yeah.
think he might be the best prospect in the system.
I think that's totally fair as of right now. 100%.
He leaped Elmer. I didn't expect him to leap Elmer by this much of a gap. It's not because Elmer had a bad spring either. We'll get to him in a bit, but he was just so much better than Elmer was, and he has like the best stuff I've never seen a Yankee prospect with this good of a pitch mix. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's the hype. That's the crux of it.
I think my last note on Legrand, assuming goes down and has a pretty good AAA season, I think he has two paths to making this team this year. I think the first path is if he looks really really good early on, and our number five starter situation is bad, or if someone else gets hurt and it's before Cole and Rodon are back. I think he could be up in like May as a starter if something happens, and he it would have to be two things, right? It would have to be him looking really really exceptional down AAA, and the starting pitching the fifth starting pitching spot opening up. And the other pathway, if he doesn't make it up early as a starter, would be to move him to the bullpen late for like just for the playoffs. Like if he has a really good season through July August, and we don't need to fill another rotation role, we could bring him up in like mid to late August, early September, add him to the roster, see what he could do out of the pen, and maybe get him some high leverage looks because he could be a game changer in October if his stuff even dials up even more thanks to adrenaline and the more compressed reliever role.
Yeah, for sure. I don't disagree, and I'll give you another note here. Everyone's going to be so concerned about like how many strikeouts does he have and whiffs and all that stuff. He allowed two barrels in spring training. Like it's really hard to barrel the baseball against a guy throwing this hard with that violent of a delivery, with the depth and repertoire that he has. I'm very very impressed with Carlos Legrand. We'll shift gears here to Elmer Rodriguez, who it kind of sucks for him that Carlos Legrand exists because now the attention has been taken from him. But I was actually really happy with Elmer Rodriguez's camp. I walked away looking at him and going, if someone went down tomorrow and he had to start, I'm cool. I think he looked.
Yeah.
I think he'd do fine. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's exact. Like I was like, dude, he looks fun. Changeup's good. I like his sinker. He gets a lot of ground balls. He got so many
Yes.
ground balls throughout spring training. It was
Oh
really
my
funny.
goodness. That I think that's my
So
number
many
one
of
note
them.
on him. He had like I think between the spring training and the WBC game, he had like a 70 something percent ground ball rate. It's like that's obviously not going to stick, but 50% I think is fully reasonable for a guy like him. All of his stuff is moving down, all of his stuff dives away from hitters. He's going to be able to keep that ball on the ground, limit damage contact. The strikeouts, I'm not sure are going to be there against major leaguers the same way they were in the minors, but I don't think he needs to be a super high strikeout guy to be effective, which is like pretty much what I need to see from him to prove that he could be in the majors. And I think going back to my point about Legrand coming up in May, I think that if someone presumably, like I'm assuming that Luis Gil is going to start as the number 5, and then he's not going to look good based on what we've seen from him. And if we get to May 1st and Gil isn't looking that good, I think it'll be between Legrand and Elmer for whichever one has looked better early on in the season. Whichever one looks better gets the call.
Yeah, I think Elmer is just like this. Elmer Rodriguez is Will Warren and Carlos Legrand's Cam Schlittler. Although I think
Yes.
Elmer's a better prospect than Warren, and I think Legrand is a better prospect than Schlittler was when Schlittler debuted.
I don't know about
That's
that. I think
well, we didn't know
Schlitter
Schlittler could
he
throw
did
that
add
hard.
more. He did add more velo, which is crazy. But
That and also Schlittler didn't have a sinker. Like Schlittler, I feel like there were serious like repertoire
yeah,
limitations. He couldn't throw anything, and he also didn't have good command either. So it was
yeah.
like
I mean, it is kind of crazy how much better Schlitter got throughout last season. So
yeah,
I think that's fair. I think it's a fair take.
and that's the distinction point I like to make because Schlittler, the rookie, like there, I would think it's unreasonable to expect LeGrand to be that good as a rookie as Schlittler was because Schlittler was a frontline starter like almost immediately. Like after a couple of starts where he was getting, he didn't look great after like 3 or 4 starts where he was like, he's a struggling rookie. He locked in and became like, hey, he's the best pitcher in the Yankees right now. So
Hmm.
I'm not trying to set him up to be that. I'm just saying that as a prospect. And I think Elmer is pretty clearly a better prospect than Warren was because I think, as you mentioned, they're going to have the same kind of struggle to have the strikeouts translate because I don't think Elmer is going to get swings and misses at the rate he did in the minor leagues, but he gets a lot of called strikes. I would hope for like a 14% strikeout to walk rate. And I think, or let's even say 13. Let's say 13% with a 50% ground ball rate. The like sort of guys who do that are pretty solid starting pitchers. They're not dominant. There aren't a lot of aces in this group, but like there are good pitchers in this group. There are solid pitchers. There are guys who in some cases, like there was like a Clay Holmes, for example. Clay Holmes is kind of what this is right now. In fact, actually, I think this was worse than 13%. I think it was like 10%. But like if you want to talk about the not great strikeout rate, high ground ball rate guys on the lower end, you have like Brian Bayo and David Peterson. On the higher end, you have Jose Soriano and Framber Valdez and Christopher Sanchez. And I don't think he's going to be, well, I like Soriano, maybe disingenuous to put him with Valdez and Sanchez. But point is, there's a world where Elmer Rodriguez is Jose Soriano. There's a world where Elmer
Hmm.
Rodriguez is David Peterson. There's a world where Elmer Rodriguez is maybe, hopefully, oh, you really pray on it, not going to happen probably, Framber Valdez, right? Like
Yeah,
those are the hopes
that's
and prayers.
those are like the ceiling guys you got for him, and then like the 50th percentile outcome. If he's just like a solid like back end like a David Peterson type of guy, like that's what we need from him this year. That'd be great if that's what he could be in the majors this season. So I'm excited to see him this year. Definitely inspired some confidence with his spring training. And I mean, like the strikeouts have. He's only thrown like I think 9 innings between spring and the WBC, but he's still. I think he has 8 strikeouts in 9 innings. It's like you'll take that. You'll take that all day from him. So I definitely want to see a bigger sample. He barely threw. I think he made one start in AAA last year. I want to see if the MLB ball affects his strikeout rate and his whiff rate because he was striking out a lot of guys in AA, but that doesn't really translate directly. So I want to see how much his stuff is playing whiff wise and strikeout wise in AAA before he gets called up. But if he looks really good through the first month or two, and we need another starter, I could see him being the guy up before Legrand in certain situations.
Yeah, it depends on how they're performing, right? Like if Elmer looks sharper, it's going to be Elmer. And I think Elmer is a little less of like, hey, you open the box and it's opened. Like I actually
Yeah.
do think you could like call him up for a start or two, like Will Warren again, and just like send him down. And it's not really that big of a deal because if he looks remotely competitive, you can still trade him. And like I think that
Hmm.
has to be part of all of this, right? Like I love these guys, but at the same time, right? Like you have to consider, hey, if like a team comes around and there's a trade to be had, you've got to be flexible with these things because
Yeah.
Lord knows, Lord knows that Lord knows that there's there's a lot of people who will get very upset if there are certain trades that came out that could have happened and didn't, and these guys don't end up being that good. So, look, I think these are very impressive guys, and it's funny. I said I felt bad for Elmer. I really feel bad for Ben Hess. I feel so bad for Ben Hess.
Yeah.
The poor guy is like a good, not great pitching prospect who has honestly the potential to be pretty damn good if he takes another leap in his second year. His stuff looked good in spring training. I mean, he's throwing a low slot fastball with good extension. He's got a big sweeper and curveball. Has a shape on his changeup that's pretty fine. Doesn't have great command, but the release height, traits are fun. Like, he's fun. I think he's a fun pitching prospect. I don't know if he's particularly dominant per se, but like, I think he's got like a lot of. He's kind of got a lot of like a number 4 starter to him with some upside to be a 3. We talked about him a little bit earlier in February. We were like, hey, his stuff might be even better than Elmer's. Jacob, thoughts on Ben Hess? What do you got for me?
I mean, I think he's. I definitely think he's the third place of these three guys. I could see a world where he ends up being a solid starter. I think really when he was in college, he was throwing a little bit harder than this, and if he like is able to get up to like 95, 96, 97 a little bit, then that'll definitely open his ceiling up. But as of right now, it seems like yeah, he's probably more of a solid back end starter. I'm not sure how the league perceives him. Like I perceives him. I'm not sure if he's been on some top 100 lists, I think, but it's very much like he's a fringe top 100 guy at the best, and I'm not sure I'd consider him a top 100 guy personally because I do think he's a little bit limited. Like his fastball is kind of unique from where he throws it, but I don't know if it's enough to be a super high strikeout guy in the majors. So I need to see more from him because he's had some health issues and he's had some issues with his stuff after coming back from injuries. So I want to see a full year from him this year, see what he can do in the minors. I don't expect to see him in the majors this year.
I don't either, and I just think kind of smells a little bit like trade bait in a sense. Not that he's not good, like genuinely in the sense of at some point, like how many guys can you house, right? And the Yankees traditionally, if you've got a lot of something at a position, they're going to trade you,
Yeah,
right?
and
That's what
also
happened with Dylan Lewis. So
going
yeah,
back to that too, like think about how many trades we make in general, how much churn we have through our prospect list, and we still have like having Legrange and Elmer look this good, and having Hess is like the third best arm in the system is like that's really impressive job by Matt Blake and all the pitching gurus in the minors and by Cashman to find these guys. So I really think they need to get their flowers because our system hasn't really been perceived as a top 10, top 15 farm system in recent seasons. But the top guy, there's always a few guys that rise up every single year into that like top 100 range. And I don't think the organization gets enough credit for that because it has been kind of like a factory of pitching talent these last few years.
yeah. I think again, like Hess is fun. He's cool. He's a fun prospect. It's just upsetting for him that like he has to kind of compete with guy who has Mason Miller's fastball as a starter and dude who all he does is keep the ball on the ground and is a really like fun depth starter to have in your organization because he could end up being like a mid rotation guy. Like again, there's a world where Elmer Rodriguez kind of starts off as Brian Bayo and finishes it off as Jose Soriano, or maybe dare I say again, Framber Valdez, maybe hopefully. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but hey, maybe hopefully. I'd be very happy with like the Clay Holmes outcome where it's just a
Oh yeah.
3.7 ERA and 30 starts a year. I'd be thrilled. Like I'd be
Oh yeah. That'd be
that would be
incredible.
the greatest thing ever. Imagine cheap 3.70 ERA outings. Oh my god, I love
And
that.
we got that for Narvaez. That was a good, people killed me because Narvaez was he hit that walk off against us, and all the Red Sox fans were like chirping my. I had a tweet. I was like, I can't believe we got Elmer for our third string catcher, and then they were like, oh, well, you gave us our starting catcher now, and he owns you. And it's like, yeah, but we got Elmer, and we haven't seen what Elmer could do yet in the majors, and we got 6 years of control of this guy, and he could be a really solid back end starter. So I'm happy to see what he can do.
JC Scar is better than Carlos Narvaez. That's my take. Next,
Good take.
let's
Good
finish
take.
this.
Good take.
Let's finish this off with depth guys, the
Oh,
big guns. Ryan Yarbrough, Paul Blackburn. I just want to shout both these guys out because they're healthy, right? Like,
yeah.
thank you for staying alive.
You need guys like this on the roster, especially when we have guys on the IL to start the year. But I don't want to talk about Ryan Yarbrough and Paul
I don't have a
Blackburn,
lot
man.
to say either. I
Like
just wanted to shout them out for doing the job of staying healthy. And honestly,
Yeah.
like I'm not really high on Paul Blackburn or Ryan
Mm.
Yarbrough, but let's see what you
Yeah.
guys got this year. What you
I
got for
will
me?
say, like Blackburn has been disappointing. He hasn't really made any changes this year that make me think, oh, this guy
He's
could
gotten
be the
worse.
next. Yeah,
His sinker's
I'm
worse.
gambling on him as like, oh, this guy maybe he could be like the next Luke Weaver. It's like, nah, he's not gonna be the next Luke Weaver. But it's like, hey,
No.
we need depth. He's probably gonna open the season. If they're probably both opening the season on the roster, we'll see some of these guys early in the season. But if everything goes perfectly this year, I don't think either of them pitch a single playoff inning. Like, hopefully. I don't even think either of these guys were on the roster in September, past August, unless they're like September call-ups for depth. But I don't know. If every pitcher in the org was healthy, neither of these guys would be on the team. But because pitchers are always hurt, these guys have to be here and eat some innings for us. So I'll appreciate them for what they do, but I'm not thrilled about when they come into game.
Yo, Padres, Giants, come holler if you guys need a little bit of depth right now. Come swing, come pick up the phone. Unironically, yo, San Diego Padres, if you are looking to offload any money and want any starting pitching depth, please give me back Wandy Peralta. Please, like
Oh,
I watched him for 120. I want him back in my life, man.
speaking of the Padres, guy I'm going to be watching this year is our old friend Randy Vasquez.
He's had a good
Because
spring.
he's had a really good spring. His velo's way up. His stuff looks really good. So I can't wait for when he's killing it in like June of this year. People are gonna be like, "Wow, we lost the Soto trade."
That's gonna be really funny, and we won't end on Randy Vasquez talk. We'll actually end with one more thought exercise. And Jacob, it's a very simple one. I'm gonna take Fangraph's projected ERA and wins above replacement for the 2026 season. You are going to tell me if you are going to take over, under, or push it. For ERA, over under means over is higher ERA, under is lower ERA. So under
Okay.
was so that just to kind of keep that consistent. 3.93 ERA for the Yankees starting rotation, over or under the 2026 season.
I'm gonna go with under. Last year, the Yankees starters had a 3.61 ERA, so 3.93 seems pretty high to me, especially considering Cole has looked good in his one inning and Schiller looks good. And I'm biased and I'm high on all these guys, but I'm taking the under.
I will also take the under. I think this group's going to be pretty fun. Obviously, depends on health. We'll figure that out as the season goes on. Wins above replacement, 13.6 for 2026. Jacob, over, under, or push.
I'm going to say push on this one because we were at 13.5 wins per replacement from the starters last year. And I do think, like, what I'm really hyping up right now is the potential everyone's healthy, everything's good going to the playoff scenario. But we aren't going to see Cole until June. We probably won't see Rodon until, like, May. I don't know what the reports have been on him, but and even when these guys get back, I'm not expecting them to be going a bunch of innings. So our best arms, I think, will be have some limited volume this year. I don't expect Freed to throw as many innings as he did last year. He was like abnormally healthy last year, and I don't know how many Schlittler's going to go because he's really never had the type of volume that he pitched all of last year. I'm not expecting him to go 160, 180 innings. So I think a lot of the depth guys will get time, but I'm going to go with push. 13.6 sounds like a good number.
I don't know what I'm going to do. No, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over. You know why I'm going over? Because I think LeGrand is closer to the big leagues than I ever thought he was going to be going into this year. Cole is better than I thought he was going to be going into this year, velocity wise, and Cam still has a slider. And I'll be honest with you, I was more concerned about his numbers against righties than lefties. And I said this a few times on this podcast. I was like, I don't know if he can consistently get righties out without adding something else. He has a slider now. That's cool. Weather's sinker looks better. That's cool. Warren is shifted to like he's shifted towards the third base side. That's cool. A lot
Yeah,
of changes, a lot of new
I definitely
things.
think Warren's going to be the guy that surprises people this year. I'm really excited for him.
I think he's just going to be like a high three ERA guy who pitches every fifth day, and that
Mm.
sounds so boring to some people.
Yeah, but
That is everything this rotation
he
needs.
was that guy last year, but it was a 4.50 ERA instead of a 3.80
Also,
ERA, 3.90 ERA.
kind of an important distinction. Didn't pitch deep into games. He averaged less than 5 innings per start, just under.
Yeah,
But like that has to. I'm more concerned about Warren getting more outs per start than I am about like anything else. And is if he gets more
Mm-hmm.
outs per start, he's just going to be a better pitcher. And like
Yeah.
I at that point no longer really care. Not saying I don't care with the ERA, but like if it's a 4 ERA, even if it's a 100 ERA plus, but I get 180 innings, like that is
Yeah.
super valuable to
Yeah.
certain organization. Honestly, to every organization in baseball,
Yeah.
especially in the regular season.
He had a few too many walks last year, a few too many long counts where he'd get ahead and he couldn't put guys away. So yeah, definitely hope that can work itself out this year.
Yeah. We'll see what ends up happening. Love to get your guys' thoughts on this rotation and more in the comment section below. My name is Ryan Garcia. That was Jacob, and that's Baseball is the YouTube channel you can find him on, and his Twitter account at and that's BB. Links to everything will be in the description below. You can follow Fireside Yankees on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and of course this YouTube page for constant content. We'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, and peace out, everybody.
Perfect.